Lyme disease, health and sanity restoration coach, blogger, speaker, mentor, soon-to-be daughter of American Revolution member, president of the Lyme disease advocates, and leading Lyme warrior. She has taught thousands of people over the world how to recognize the root cause of Lyme disease, and her expert advocacy helps people save time, money while fighting. Lyme is pointing them in the direction that can heal their body. Jennifer educates Lyme veterans on how to deal with the abuse from Western medicine doctors and becoming informed Lyme leaders who champion their rights as patients while navigating their way through the broken healthcare system. So let's welcome Jennifer Heath.
Okay, so facts do not cease. Okay, so facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Audio Huxley. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. All right, here we go again. Let's try this one more time. All right, so facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Audience Huxley. If you want to see who is really running our government, aka hello? Okay, I might need you to switch to papers. Yes. Okay. If you want to see who is really running our government, aka deep state players, study and prosecute the Lyme crime. The Lyme crime shows why 1 out of 35 American children are now being diagnosed with vaccine-induced autism, a disease that was unheard of before the militarization of vaccinations. These deep state players are holding Americans and their families hostage by treating them like slaves with no rights to decide what is injected into their bodies, by forcing children, veterans, and healthcare workers to get vaccinated if they want to attend school or keep their jobs, and submitting them to the Catholic Church standards of giving up their God-given rights, of trusting and using God's instructions on how to heal the body. Instead, they are being forced and using man-made methods that have been proven to harm their bodies and give them the disease that the vaccine was to prevent, making the vaccine not a vaccine. All for the so-called common good. Go to my blog and read false flags, vaccinations, and common good posts on my website, overcomingLymeDisease.com, to see what I'm talking about. You don't see doctors speaking out today at this Lyme All Abuse Medical Group's CDC Rally because they live in fear of the powers that be when they speak the truth. If you don't believe me, check out chapter 9 in my book. It describes and explains how holistic doctors or regular MDs that have spoken out about the dangers of vaccines and big pharma, cancer treatments, or those that explain the benefits of alternative treatments that don't use man-made medicines, why these heroes are mysteriously dying, and the Justice Department is doing nothing, is not looking into foul play. Case in point, CDC officer Timothy Cunningham. God bless his soul. They went missing, and it took CNN 2 weeks to cover the story. When CNN finally reported the story, they said Dr. Cunningham was upset for losing a promotion, in which the CDC later publicly spoke out and said he did not miss a promotion. It was also reported that he left work early because he didn't feel good. But he went home and left his dog, keys, cell phone, and wallet, and went for a walk or jog by the river, which later he was found dead in, drowned in. No further investigation into foul play on this. How does this happen? The truth will come out about these brave doctors. Erin Elizabeth from HealthNet News recently signed a contract with Hollywood film producer to cover these stories of these brave, dead doctors. Another reason why you don't see any doctors out here protesting is because they lack knowledge of the truth about Lyme disease. The American Lyme Disease Foundation started in 1990 to spend the disease to the world, calling it a bacterial infection, when they knew it was far worse. The ALDF, CDC, ITSA, FDA, members, and anyone else they are in bed with, spun the disease to the world, reporting it as a curable bacterial infection instead of admitting it was a parasitic spirochete, its own phylum, its own animal kingdom. Okay? Its own phylum that sheds fungal antigens and permanently, folks, shuts down the immune system. With no immune response, your body can't recognize foreign invaders like Epstein-Barr virus or any of the viruses they are injecting via a needle, allowing those unchecked viruses to run wild, causing diseases like autism.
Cancer.
This is similar to AIDS, where HIV, a T-cell virus, attacks the body. The outcome of Lyme disease is cancer, ALS, lupus, MS, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and the likes. Lyme mimics over 350 diseases. Even if doctors understood the mechanism of this disease, the testing is fraud. Only 15% of the American population will test positive, which is causing 85% of the population to be misdiagnosed and treated for diseases that Lyme only mimics, meaning they aren't getting treatment for the disease they really have. A disease of immune suppression, where by no means can you ever receive a man-made vaccine. This is a major human rights violation.
Yes.
It is not only a crime against humanity, it is a crime against American taxpayers that are being charged for testing and treatments that have proven not to work. Not only are the American taxpayers being charged for these bogus tests and treatments, it is costing the lives of our American people by being misdiagnosed and improperly treated for this systemic disease that is similar to cancer and AIDS. Since the powers that be have deemed AIDS the only disease allowed to be recognized as a disease of immune suppression, this crime is going unchecked. The 1986 law that allows the people to sue the American government because of vaccine failure, these vaccine makers are no longer held accountable for any of their diabolical actions or vaccine outcomes. Did you know that 22 American soldiers are committing suicide every day because of vaccine failure and exposure to biological weapons? Or it could be just the contaminated water from the Euphrates River that they gave to our troops. Okay, so the number one cause for death for a Lyme patient used to be a stroke. Now it is suicide because Lyme victims are told they aren't sick. And their symptoms must be all in their head. Well, what? Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm bad at that. So, well, they are somewhat right by saying Lyme victim symptoms are all in their head. They are suffering from a chronic brain infection, which is, all in their head.
Yes,
Literally.
It's all in their head. Okay, so yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, they sort of got it right. So let's see. This medical and emotional abuse has to stop. Suicide is not health care. Suicide should not be the only option in treatment for Lyme, vaccine injured, or other medically abused victims. I guess Hippocrates, founder of medicine, was right when he said, if you are not your own doctor, you are a fool. So what do we need to do to get the recognition and help that we deserve? Going to elected officials and sharing the crime has not worked thus far, probably because they're being paid off by big pharma and vaccine makers.
Lobbyists.
Yeah, we've lobbied and they didn't do anything. This is why we, the American people, who still trust in God and the laws that govern our nation, are here today to get this message out and heard about the Lyme crime. Ephesians 6:15, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against authorities, against the powers of this dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms.
Amen. Amen.
One more page, sorry, thank you. Amen. Until we, the people, rise up against the powers that be, like David and Goliath, nothing will get done. Nothing will get done. And we will continue to lose our fellow man to suicide. And everyone on this planet will continue to be abused by not getting properly treated. This is a major human rights violation that is affecting our whole world. How does it affect our whole world, do you ask? Our CDC sets the standards for how Lyme disease is to be treated and recognized, along with pushing vaccines on the world without properly testing for immune suppression. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you be a part of the problem and ignore it? Or will you be the part of the solution and rise up and be the hero God intended you to be? The choice is yours. Thank you. And God bless.
Thank you.